Coming up now, though, it's the gold medal match in the women's W1 individual on our 50-metre range in the shadow of St. Jan's Cathedral. Well, we're going to see a Russian athlete go up against a Korean, Elena Krutova, who was a mixed team silver medalist at the 2017 World Championships, takes on Kim Ok Geum of Korea. The Korean, the Rio 2016 mixed team silver medalist. So let's welcome them out onto the field of play. Krutova of Russia against Kim of Korea. Well, there is Elena Krutova. She shot a 6.11 in the ranking round to finish up ranked 5th and came through Jiang Linhuan 127 to 119 in the quarterfinals, and then beat Liu Jing, who's just taken the bronze medal, in a shoot-off 10 to 9 in the semi-finals, going up against the 59-year-old Kim Ok Geum of Korea. She shot a 5.89 in the ranking round to be ranked 7th. Took out Asia Filizari 127 to 123 in the quarterfinals, and then Chen Minyi of China 130 to 129 in the semi-finals.
So they both won their semi-final matches with 130 points. Very similar level throughout this tournament. Again, hoping for a close match here.
And our line judge for this match is Alison Hageman.
You can see the stand that Kim Ok Geum is resting her bow on. Custom stand, like much of the equipment used by para archers.
So world number 3, 39-year-old Elena Krutova to get the gold medal match underway for Russia.
Krutova, of course, has already been out in this arena in the mixed team final where she took silver.
Well, she used that first 7 as a sighter. You see the movement in that back elbow there from the Russian.
Yeah, and you think you can see the movement; it's perceptible, but that amount of movement would cause a huge variation on the target if it was the same when they let go.
Well, 4-point lead for the Russian, but the third arrow she released is subject to a measure.
I think Krutova's chair is a great way to see how that support works on the back of the archers. And there is a rule about the height of the chair, so it can't be much higher or any higher than she has it there. But you can see the metal cups of the back of the chair coming round her back and giving that support that she is permitted.
You say that it's sort of individually a bespoke equipment. Literally, these archers are having equipment absolutely tailor-made to them.
Even the wheelchairs themselves able-bodied archers, they have their bows, they have their arrows. There's thousands of hours that go into maintaining and tuning and setting up that equipment over the course of any archer's life. But these para-athletes who do have wheelchairs have to tune that piece of equipment as well. It's an extension of the archery kit. These are not chairs that they would use if they weren't para-archers. These are para-archery wheelchairs.
Well, Krutova's third arrow was confirmed as an 8, so it's a 4-point lead for the Russian. Kim Ok Geum, trailing, will shoot first in the second end. Remember, this is for gold.
4. 7.
So at this point, Kim Ok Geum is an arrow behind Elena Krutova in the score.
Another good shot of Elena Krutova, and that elbow at the back just moving. She's waiting for that to settle down. She's 39. Chris, Kim is 59. How much does age play a factor in para archery?
Age doesn't play a factor in archery at all, I would say. Archery really is a sport that is accessible to everybody. On show here. And what's wonderful is whatever age you take up the sport, you really can get to the level you want. Many of these para archers didn't start shooting until they were later on in life. Some started shooting very early in life, but they're all on the same and a level playing field here. One of the reasons that so many para archers take up the sport later in life is that archery is often used as a rehabilitation mechanism after an accident or after an injury. In fact, that's how the Paralympic Games started. They started because archery was being used as a program of rehabilitation, of muscle rehabilitation after soldiers came back from the war.
Yeah, it's a great thing about sport and Paralympic sport, born out of Great Britain, Stoke Mandeville, in fact, where sport was used to rehabilitate people with injuries. But now the level is so high with these athletes. You see some para archers competing in the Olympic Games as well.
Yeah, at Rio 2016, Zara Namati shot in both the Paralympic Games and the Olympic Games. And I'm sure she'll be trying to do the same thing again in Tokyo.
Well, Kim trailing by a fairly big margin here against Krutova. At this stage, Chris, can you see, well, can an athlete realistically get back in without the other athlete having a big error herself?
Krutova's shooting better than Kim, but she isn't shooting perfectly. But I think the jump in Kim's score would have to be dramatic to claw her way back into this gold medal match.
9.
You don't go from shooting 5s and 6s to consistently 10s in the blink of an eye.
6. 7.
Well, if anything, things are getting even more tricky for Kim right now. Another 17, potentially getting marked up to an 18. And it's up against a 24, a second one from Krutova.
And the arrows do still have to be shot, but at this point the match is all but over, and Krutova will be the winner. She'll cruise to victory now.
All right, maybe that was 3 6s called by the target judge.
Voor beide vrouwen
but it is, well, a significant lead, and it has indeed been marked up to an 18 for Kim Ok Geum, but she trails by a mighty margin. 17 points the difference at this stage, with 6 arrows left for each archer. And I think you're right, Chris. Krutova is, well, she's certainly in the box seat, she's certainly in a commanding position, but one bad arrow can make a big difference.
As long as Kim's able to take advantage of it. And that's really the key here. Krutova hasn't shot her best match of the tournament, but Kim just hasn't been on form at all.
Well, can the 59-year-old better herself in this fourth end? That is a much better shot.
Maybe you do go from shooting 6 to 10s. So even if Kim Ok Geum has shot her 2 best arrows of the match, Elena Krutova has shot more.
Well, an opportunity to extend the lead more here. She does it by as much as she possibly could. A 24 from Kim was the best she's had in 3 ends, but a 29 out of 30 for Elena Krutova, and she's just getting better and better.
A 22-point advantage means Elena Krutova can win this match with her first arrow of the last end.
Yeah, well, both archers have certainly improved in that fourth end. Kim going up from an 18 to a 24 here in red, but well, Krutova scoring a 29 out of a possible 30.
So ladies and gentlemen, for our final ends, the last end comes around. Let's give it up for both.
So my maths is not great, but 110 is all that Kim can score. Krutova therefore just needs a 9, and look at how solid she's shooting at the moment. The 10s there in that last end for Krutova.
And lovely to see that shot from the back, where it really gives perspective about how high that arrow is going on its way down to the target. The close-ups on the archer and the face don't really give the full perspective of how much it moves.
Yeah, well, now it's a 7 that's all that's required for Krutova here to put this one out of reach.
9.
And there you go, the gold medal is done. The arrows will be shot, of course. And Chris, it's an interesting point you mentioned. I mean, it's very easy for people to think that the arrow just flies in a dead straight line from the shooting line to the target. But of course it goes in a big arc up and down, and what, 5-6 meters, you think?
With this W1 division, possibly a bit more, about 7 meters. It all depends on the arrow speed, of course. So the longer the arrow flies, the more it'll be affected by gravity.
9.
Well, a good finish from Kim, but it was a too little, too late. Loads of time to shoot a final arrow, and it is a 10 to finish in style. Elena Krutova of Russia is the W1 Women's Individual World Champion of 2019.
And that match was won in the first 2-3 ends. She was on form in there, and Kim Ok Geum just wasn't.
Well, the measure has been done for the final confirmation, and there it is, Elena Krutova of Russia is the women's W1 individual champion here. It's her, Den Bosch. She is a world champion.